What's up, guys? LegitBrowniesGaming here. Another week-long wind down, and I haven't done this in a while, so forgive me. Kind of, I haven't really felt like doing one of these in a little bit, and if I don't feel like doing it, I feel like I do a bad job of it. So I'd rather do it when I want to, right? The gameplay you're seeing here is NHL 13 gameplay. I just picked a random team for online team play. Not online team play, online versus play. I just picked a random team. I hit, the random button a bunch of times, and I got the St. Louis Blues. But that is not the purpose of today's video. The purpose of today's video is to talk about stuff. So, the topic for this week is sympathy and moving on. And I just have probably a lot of people aren't gonna like what I'm gonna say in this commentary. But that's a-okay in my opinion. Not everyone's gonna like everything I say all the time, so unfortunately, it looks like I'm gonna have to piss some people off. So now, in regards to sympathy, I don't think people use it in the right way. Um, a lot of people, when something will happen, like say, something obviously something upsetting will happen, they look out to people. They go out and try and get, sympathy. And look, I'm not saying sympathy is a bad thing. Everyone needs some sympathy every now and then. I mean, if we all just go through life being depressed the whole time, obviously it's going to suck. So sympathy can really help in some situations. It can help you, kind of get back on your feet after something really sad happens to you, and it can kind of help you regain your composure and help you get back on track. But I don't think it's a permanent solution. And the reason I say that is because when something sad happens, a lot of times also it's like social media. People will go out and just be like, OMG, so sad, or this is the worst day of my life, and then they'll walk around all depressed all day. Basically just looking for people to say no, not OMG. Nobody says that in real life. Well, I hope not anyway. But they'll basically go around just looking for people to say, "Oh, what happened? Are you okay?" And like I said, that's all well and good. Everyone needs some sympathy every now and then, but you can't just focus on getting the sympathy, right? You have to focus on, well, that's part of, actually, I was just going to talk about in a little bit, just to kind of close my thoughts on sympathy here. Like, it's not something you should go out and look for. It's something that people just give to you when they feel bad. Because if you go out and look for it, well, then, who knows if they actually feel bad. Maybe they're just giving it to you because it's what they feel they should do, or, what's socially acceptable. Um, who knows, right? So, what I was gonna expound on before I cut myself off was that we shouldn't go out and look for sympathy because it's not a long-term solution. Instead of focusing on getting people to say OMG, God damn it, not OMG. That's the second time I said that now. Ugh, that's so stupid. Um, but we shouldn't go out and look for people to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for you. If I wish I could help." Um, Instead, what I think we should be focusing on is moving past whatever happened and moving forward, right? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. As much as it seems like people are really upset about, something that happened to you, and, sometimes it's legitimately people are, they feel bad for you. A lot of times, like your family will feel bad for you, really close friends. But, there's no point in sitting there wallowing in your own self-guilt. There's no point in sitting there feeling bad for yourself because other than the select group of people that I just mentioned, the world's not going to feel bad for you, and the world's really not going to do you any favors. Something shitty happens, you just got to get back on your feet and work past it because, while, yeah, it's great people feel bad for you, when people stop feeling bad for you, what do you have then? You're still depressed as shit, and people have stopped, you know, kind of patting you on the back there. People have realized, well, it's time to move on. It's time to focus on a positive note instead of just sitting here constantly thinking about the bad things that happened, right? So when something depressing happens, don't sit there and wallow in your own self-pity. Don't feel like, oh, my life sucks. This is never going to get better because trust me, it is going to get better no matter what it is. Everything will get better and everything will be fine. And if you really focus all your attention on, working past whatever happened, um, believe me, you'll be a lot better off. Like, if something really sad happens and then you just sit there looking for sympathy, yeah, you get it, great. After everyone stops, you're still sad, and you have no progress in moving past whatever had happened to you. So now you started at the beginning. If you as soon as something sad happens or something bad happens, if you immediately dedicate yourself to working towards moving past it and overcoming it, then you can use that sympathy that will inevitably be generated to kind of, energize you and propel your, you know, forgot what I was going to say, propel your advances towards moving past whatever it is. So, and trust me, you'll feel a lot better too, right? Because once you actually get past whatever happened, you'll just be like, you know what, you tend to realize after something happens, you tend to realize it's not all that bad. At the moment, it may seem like your life is over and you might as well give up now and you might as well just sit there and cry about it until someone comes along and does something for you. But what if no one does anything for you? Like, especially this is with adults, right? I don't want to say you're on your own for the most part with adults, but as an adult, you're kind of expected to get over it, to use a very kind of aggressive term, but you're kind of expected to just, deal with it and get over whatever happened a lot quicker than, say, a child would. Um, and I know I don't want to bring like, sexist remarks into this or whatever, but well, it's not really sexist. It's more of a stereotype. But guys, especially, we have this stereotype that we're supposed to be like this really this tough guy, no feelings, no emotions, nothing upsets me ever. So, if you build this mentality around yourself that hey, no one else is gonna take pity on me. No one's gonna do me any favors. The world's certainly not gonna do me any favors just because it screwed me over. I really gotta, get my shit together and start moving on. Then when the world does do you a favor, it's a very nice surprise. But if you're expecting the world to do you a favor and it doesn't, well, then that's a not so good surprise. That tends to throw a lot of people for a loop, and then they're like, well, why didn't this happen or why didn't that happen? And I'm like, because you didn't go out there and make it happen. Um, I don't want to also be depressing in that fact, but if you want to feel a certain way, you gotta feel a certain way because you feel a certain way. Like if someone walks up to you and says, "Oh, feel better, man. It's not that bad. Get over it." You might tell that person, "No, you really you really helped me out. I do really feel better now." But you're not gonna feel a certain way because someone told you to. Um, and I know that's kind of depressing to think about. Like, oh, well, then what's the point of like motivational speakers or like therapists and stuff? But it's really true. You've got to want to feel a certain way. You've got to want to feel better. You've got to want to move past whatever cataclysmic event just happened. Otherwise, your heart's just not going to be in it. You're not going to be interested in it, and nothing's going to get done because you can go to a psychiatrist and you can sit there and they can tell you feel better. It's not that bad. Life goes on. Everything will be okay. And I know, again, it's kind of ironic because I make in some of these videos, I do the same thing. I'm like, guys, everything will be okay. Don't feel bad. But you've got to feel it yourself. It's almost like playing a sport, right? If you're playing a sport that you just have absolutely no interest in, you're not going to give your 100%. You're not going to give it your all because you're just not interested in it. So if you're just not interested in feeling better, then unfortunately there's not much people can do for you. So if you want to sit there and wallow in self-guilt and you want to sit there and not move past it, then that sympathy that's been generated by whatever event isn't going to do a whole hell of a lot. In fact, at some points it just might make you feel worse because now you feel like, oh, these people really do care, but I still don't see a way out. So even with the care of other people, there's no way out of this hole that I've dug myself into. So I'm not saying don't give out sympathy to people. I'm not saying be a cold-hearted bastard. I'm not saying, when someone's parent dies or when like a dog dies or something, I'm not saying walk up to them and be like, suck it up. Obviously, there's a time and place for everything. However, on a personal level, when something like that happens, like your dog dies or something catastrophic happens, moving past it's really the best option. And maybe the whole like the parent died thing isn't exactly a great uh, what's it, a great example, because that's obviously one of the most catastrophic events that can happen in your life. But it's and I'm not saying when you move past something that you have to completely forget it, right? Don't just completely forget the fact that, you know, oh, this horrible event just happened. Oh well. Um, I don't give a crap. Like, especially again with the example of, like, say a close family member dies, you don't want to just completely forget that close family member. That's not the appropriate reaction to that particular situation. You still want to treat it with reverence, but you can't just sit there being depressed about it, because it's not helping anyone involved. I mean, especially when it comes to a death, right? I'm pretty sure, for the most part, if anyone has died, that they don't want people sitting there feeling sad about it. They want people moving on and doing what they can't do anymore, which is live. And that's another thing about moving on. It's like, if you don't move on, then you're really just taking away from your own quality of life. You can still feel bad about it. You can still feel sad, but don't let it absolutely ruin your life, you know? Don't let it don't let it crush everything that is you, because that's a really bad way to go about things. And that was my little spiel on sympathy and moving on. And, like, I know it's ironic because I make videos where I'm like, guys, feel better, everything will be okay, everything happens, the world will pay you back and you're gonna be fine. But you can still heed my advice, and you can still feel like that there is, a future, and that you can move past these things. But what I'm trying to say is that if you don't do it for yourself, who are you gonna do it for? And oftentimes when you're doing something for someone else, it's not as effective if you're doing it for yourself. Like, if you're doing, like, a school project or something, right? Like the group projects that teachers love to hand out, and they always seem to put you with the one kid that doesn't do anything, right? So if you're doing a school project and it's basically you have uh you have no part in the grade, like the grade that they get doesn't affect you, however it affects them, then you're not gonna put your 110% effort into it, because you're just like, this doesn't really affect me at all. I mean, obviously with these feelings, it does affect you, but you can't really. If I could walk up to every person in the world and just say, feel better, I would, because I hate sadness. I absolutely hate seeing people sad. It really bothers me, because you only have one life to live, so why not live the happiest life you possibly can? And I hate seeing people sad, because I don't know how to explain it. It bothers me. Unless it's someone I really don't particularly like, then it doesn't bother me. But if it's like, just knowing that someone somewhere out there is just feeling depressed and upset, when they could be feeling, happy and glad that they're alive and just enjoying life. And I think it's part of it is the fact that I try and be as happy as a person as I can most of the time. So I feel like if I can enjoy life, then why shouldn't other people? And when other people aren't, it bothers me. It's like, here's this great gift we've all been given, and this person has to feel pain and upsetness about it. And that's why, especially in my other video, where I think I talked about it in my other video, where it's like, you know, I hate being responsible for other people's, upsetment, because it's like, well, I just completely screwed that person over. I completely just prevented that person from being happy, when, had I not been such a dumbass, and they would be fine, right? So just it annoys me. So, well, it doesn't annoy me, it bothers me. And I try and make an effort, especially if it's someone I care about. I try and make an effort to help that person out along, and that's part of why I do these videos, because I feel like if there is someone that's really upset out there, then maybe possibly these videos can, help them out, make them feel a little bit better. Um, and if that is the case, well then, even if just one person feels better after watching this video, then I will have succeeded in my endeavors. So that was my little spiel on sympathy, moving on, and I kind of got a tad bit off topic, but that's a-okay. Next week, don't know what I'm gonna do it on yet. Um, Obviously, I kind of just don't plan these things out. I'm just kind of like, oh, week-long wind down, let's do it, and let's see what I can come up with because I'm an idiot and I don't plan these things out correctly. So, yeah. So the gameplay is coming to an end. This commentary is coming to an end. I'm gonna cut the commentary here. Just let the um, last couple seconds of the gameplay kind of wear out here as I go on to beat this guy in online versus play. So I will see you next time, guys.